getting ready to watch some gameplay. Well, too bad. We have to talk about Street Fighter things. Gameplay. You thought we did gameplay around here? If you don't know, basically they were arranging all of the players who qualified for Capcom Cup into different groups. And they had to decide on a format because rather than a typical CPT season like we had in 2019 and before, where they would have different tiers of events, ranking or premier events that were held all over the world, and people would just attend these events, accumulate points, and then based on the ranking, like the top 31 maybe with one from the LCQ, all those players would qualify for Capcom Cup, and then they would basically just arrange the seeding according to your rank based on points. So it was a lot more straightforward, and there was problems with that still because not every region had the same number of events available to them, so some people could farm more points than others, and the seeding was not always perfect. But for this event, they had another problem because everyone only competed within their regions. So essentially what they did is they just said, screw it. What we're going to do is we're going to draw randomly for groups. It's going to be round robin. Whoever is the number one player in the group at the end of it moves on to the top 16 and winners. Whoever is number two will move on to the top 16 and losers. And they just separated everything by region. So group A would have a North American player, an MEEA player, and so on. So they broke it up based on regional representatives, and then they drew players that were correlated with these regions, so that way they can avoid having the same players play each other who were typically competing with each other throughout the past 2 years. It mostly worked, but there are some strange occurrences here. I mean, the big glaring one, we can just get it out of the way. It's Group F. What the hell is going on with Group F? We have Chris CCH, Mr. Crimson, Angry Bird, DCQ, Uriel Valorio, and Travis Styles. Yeah, press F for Group F. This is just nuts. So I feel like most of the other groups are pretty decently distributed in terms of what you would do based on traditional seeding. Group F is way too stacked. Remember, only 2 people are going to get out of here into top 16. Mr. Crimson is one of the favorites to win Capcom Cup. So is Angry Bird. DCQ is definitely set to make a deep run, and I think Chris DCH was set up to have a good run as well. So this bracket is messed up. Uriel Valorio, I'm sleeping on him right now, but he can cause some upsets. But the one I'm not sleeping on is Travis Styles. Travis Styles is set here to potentially end Mr. Crimson's Capcom Cup run, in my opinion. I think he can also potentially be Angry Bird and Chris CCH and DCQ. I think Travis Styles actually has a shot of getting out of this group. The best Balrog in Australia, bar none. One of the best Balrogs in the world, easy. I think that character counters Dhalsim to a degree. Mr. Crimson has shown very strong results against great Balrog players in the past. But I think Travis Styles might actually cause huge upsets. Might actually be a big wrench in this group. So this is kind of messed up. But then you look at other groups and they're just not as stacked. I think they all have strong players, but they're just not to the same degree. Group E, for example, I would, no disrespect to all these players, are all amazing players, but there's a group of players who you can safely bet on being in the top 8 of any world-class tournament. Group E does not feature that many players except for maybe NL, right? NL is one you can say, okay, I can put him in that category of likely to show up in the top 8 of a world-class event. So this overall, the group is obviously not as stacked, but 2 people will get out of Group E, 2 people will get out of Group F, 2 people will get out of every group. So it's a little rough. It's a little rough. Group A looks pretty good too. I think IDOM is going to easily take it out of Group A. Not easily. Well, actually, here, think about this. Low key, IDOM does not do great against Seth. Sol VNG is an amazing Seth. Oil King is playing Seth lately. I think these players can give IDOM some trouble. I honestly think this is not as free as it might seem for IDOM. So it's actually hard to call this. I think IDOM has, it's better than a Group F. For sure, but character matchup wise for IDOM, it's actually not that great. So who knows how that's going to shake up. Group B is another one. I think Group B is the second most stacked bracket. Justikid, the Four Fills, Phenom, Kawano, Young Ho, and Doomsnake. Obviously, mostly looking at the top 4, but Young Ho and Doomsnake are no slouches either. Man, this sucks. I think the Four Fills has actually been doing extremely well the past couple of years, and I think was slated to make a deep run in Capcom Cup. Phenom, top 3 in Capcom Cup 2019, one of the most consistent players of all times. Then Kawano, the Capcom Cup champion, or sorry, the Evo champion, trying to become the Capcom Cup champion. Then Justikid, who's like been making a name for himself, been on a tear, one of the best in NA right now. This group is really rough. People would say on surface level they go Phenom and Kawano, but I think Four Fills might be the one getting out of here. I would love Just the Kid to make a run, but this is rough. This is really rough. Phenom, Kawano, and Four Fills, in my opinion, should not be in the same group. And the Four Fills and Phenom being in the same group is kind of whack as they play each other all the time. Like, this is just EU together. EU is really good, really fucking good. No Daigo, why? Because he's not in Capcom Cup. Group C, Punk, Valmaster, Jobby M, VX Bao, Frozen, and Brandon. Obviously, the top 2 here are Punk and Valmaster. Third, I'd put VX Bao. And then beyond that, it's hard to call. Maybe Frozen can... Brandon, don't sleep on Brandon. Brandon's super strong. Punk mollywops Valmaster. Does he? Because Valmaster kind of took a dump on Punk last time they played. I'm pretty sure he beat him 3-0. I think Punk tried Luke and then switched to Chun-Li mirror and then lost all of it. Yeah, Valmaster got second place at UFA to Ending Walker, and he definitely beat up on Punk. Now, we've seen that in the past, right? Like, I wouldn't put anyone... I'm not confident with anyone on the planet against Punk. So it's just recent history shows that Valmaster can compete on that level and has a current win over Punk. Obviously, Punk can come back and dominate. But that's why I'm just setting this up. This is not a foregone conclusion that Punk gets out in winners. So don't count out Valmaster. But to me, I got to be honest, it's definitely coming down between Punk and Valmaster and then maybe the X-Bow. All right, Group D. Joe, Ume Rogan, Ending Walker, Ren, M Lizard, Juninho, Ross, and Bravery. I'm not familiar with Ren. I know Rob was saying that he plays Ken. I know he was one of the players who had to replace someone who couldn't attend, but I can't remember who. Obviously, the number one favorite by far here is Ending Walker. Beyond that, I'm looking at Joe and M Lizard, maybe Bravery. I'm favoring more Joe or M Lizard. There's a chance that Joe gets out of this group and losers, but I think Ending Walker is definitely in a very strong position in Group D. Very, very strong. Group E, we talked about a little bit. Magnegro, Vega Patch, Kalmal, NL, W Falcon, ROF. So NL is the favorite one here. I think Greg, he can make it out, to be quite honest. I think NL winners and Greg and losers. The two I'm favoring for loser side is Greg and Vega Patch. I could be wrong, but I honestly think that might be the turnout here. Honestly, I think Greg can make it out in winners. NL, as strong as he is, has been shown to be human, so you never know. Group F, this is too messed up. Who are we going to call? Chris CCH, Mr. Crimson, Angry Bird, DCQ, Uriel, and Travis. I think, honestly, Angry Bird and maybe Travis. I think there's a chance that Crimson doesn't get out of this group. Maybe Angry Bird and DCQ, and then Travis is the wrench. If Travis is hot that day, he's going to cause a lot of upsets. So obviously, I think statistically, the two most favored would be Mr. Crimson and Angry Bird, then DCQ behind that, then Chris, then Travis. That's like the safe bet. But matchup-wise, I feel like Travis might bring somebody's win rate down, and then if Chris causes another upset, for example, then I could easily see Mr. Crimson or Angry Bird not even moving on. I think Angry Bird is the safest to move on. I think Crimson actually has a tough group for him, just based on matchups. But he wins his bad matchups anyways, and they're not even that bad. It's, Dawson bad matchups are even. I think Chris is going to have an uphill battle here, to be quite honest. And I'm just looking at it matchup-wise. I think skill-wise, he's as good he's good enough to compete with these players and beat them for sure. I just don't think he has any advantage, which is wild to say about Luke. I'll be rooting for Chris, obviously, CLG all the way. I'm just trying to be realistic here. But man, this makes me a little sad. I was about to lose my mind. If Mena got called here for Central America, I would have been like, dude, redraw it. If you had Mena, DCQ, Angry Bird, Mr. Crimson, Chris CCH, and Travis, that would not have been fair. This is why I like seeding. There's always been a weird part of the FGC that is against seeding. You want good seeding. Bad seeding is bad. But no seeding is worse than, I'd rather have okay seeding than no seeding. We value who places 16th. We value the top 16 placers, the 9th placers, the 8th, the 5th. All those placements matter. It's not just who gets first. So we care about the spread of placements. And the only way you can have value in the spread of placements is by having good seeding. I understand why they did this. They did the best with what they could, given the situation. But I hope we can avoid this in the future. Did they mention where the LCQ winner goes? It's going to be one of G or H, but we don't really know. Or maybe I missed the details. It's all kind of in flux right now because more people dropped out than they could replace. So one of these two, which actually sucks. Now that I look at it, the LCQ winner is going to go in G or H. We have Momochi and Pugera in either one of these brackets. Big Bird Momochi, Pugera Mena. And then there's going to be an LCQ winner who's going to be maybe like a Tokido a Daigo, a Fudo. Yeah, there's actually going to be the LCQ there's a high chance that the LCQ winner is going to go on a very, very big run. It's going to be a super strong player. So you're actually getting probably one of your worst opponents via the LCQ. So that will set one of these over the edge, in my opinion, in terms of being one of the most stacked brackets, stacked groups. LCQ is harder than Capcom Cup. I wouldn't phrase it that way. It's a different format. All right, Group G, Cereblast, Geeko, Big Bird, Momochi, Mono, and I don't know where the LCQ is going. From these people, obviously I'm looking at Big Bird and Momochi, but Mono, Cereblast, even Geeko could maybe fight for that spot. I think Momochi is for sure getting out. I just think Momochi's style is too stable. So to me, in my view, Big Bird is going to be fighting for first or second. Like Big Bird has the most potential to be upset here. And that person to make the upset could be Mono or Cereblast. Geeko, I'll put respect on their name, super strong, but they're untested in this format. So Geeko to me has the most to prove here. All these players that I'm not mentioning, once again, it's tough to compare because these are all the players that have been competing in their bubble so much, and it's really hard to compare them. So that's what's exciting about this, right? All these players that have been unproven in the international stage, they finally get a shot to show what they can do. It's really hard to get perspective on players to a degree when you're fighting in a bubble. So I'd love to see Geeko make some upsets as well. And if LCQ goes in here, then it's Momochi and LCQ or Big Bird. Like if there's one more monster in here, it's for sure Big Bird, Momochi, or LCQ. But with this group, we can see an upset. Group H, Samurai, Jimmy, Mirkin, Pugera, and Mena. This group is interesting to me. Pugera and Mena are obviously the favorites here. Samurai and Jimmy and Mirkin, they can all cause upsets. Mirkin is one I'm interested in to see as well against the international players. Strong G. Pugera and Mena. I wonder how that's going to go down. Jimmy, Ryu does okay against Luke, right? The problem is he has two potential Balrogs. And I think Ryu doesn't lose super hard to Rog, but it's enough of an advantage. Jimmy had a tough time against the Lukes. Yeah, he might be outgunned here. Just matchup-wise. Samurai's going to be playing Luke. You're going to have the best Rog in the world, and then Mena plays Luke and Rog. I feel like this is not a good matchup spread for Ryu. So obviously the favorites here are Pugera and Mena, with Samurai in the prime position for the upset to make it out. Don't know where that LCQ guy is going though. So remember, the LCQ winner is probably going to be a world-class player like a Tokido, a Shudo, a Daigo. So they will be put into one of these groups. Keep that in mind. Or Brian F. Yeah, man, I just need another 2017 repeat. Everyone always remembers the Nemo run from 2017. They don't remember the Brian F run. I was one high-low mix-up away from stopping Nemo's run.
Oh, yikes, out of the corner of my eye, man. I had to make sure he knew.
We went low instead of the instant overhead. Aegis.
This is a bad
reflector.
situation.
He's got full CA.
He's gonna spend it.
It was pretty close. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, huh? But anyways, the drama is beginning. I'm definitely going to be enjoying the matches. Keep in mind that every one of these matches, I believe, is going to be streamed. They're doing round robin for these groups. That's why Capcom Cup is taking place over 7 days. There's 2 days for the LCQ, 4 days for group stages, 2 days for Street Fighter League, and then 1 day for top 16. It is a whole week. You're going to be able to see all of these matchups. So every matchup you can think of in each group will occur. So it's going to be a lot of action. So I do like that they're going all out with the groups. It's a little rough that you get out of the group stages in winners or losers. I'm almost wondering if maybe it would have been preferable to me to have people get out in all in winners side from the groups. Getting out in losers from the group is pretty brutal. I feel like it would have been better balance if they got out in winners. But they're doing the best they can do with the circumstances provided. It's going to be a lot of action. I'll be enjoying it. Huge tournaments like this should have seating. You're going to get detractors no matter what you do because they would have said, what is the seeding based on? Because there hasn't been any CPT events. Yeah, guys, I will be playing in the LCQ. How it will go, I have no idea. I'm just focusing on having a good time, playing Oro, just having fun. And I think that's the best strategy I could have. I think if I have enough fun with Oro, that probably means my opponent won't be having fun. What if I win, though? Oops.